Hey guys, today I'm going to talk about the eTrex 32x, and it's a similar unit to the eTrex 22x, so you can kind of use this review for that one too. I'll talk about the differences in a little while, but what I am going to cover is I am going to cover the highs and lows of the device. I will walk you through the unit itself and what all the menu items are and how they work, and then I'll give you some real-world navigation tips and walkthroughs on how to actually use it in the field. And then I'll wrap up by talking about who this is for and who this is not for, and maybe some alternatives to this device if you're considering it or considering maybe some other devices. So let's get to it. Before we jump into the video, just a quick note. You will periodically see the screen turn off. That's because I have a function called battery saver on. What that does is it turns the screen off when the backlight expires, and you can set the backlight to never go off, to go off after 15 seconds, whatever it might be. So I have that on because it helps me save the battery. So once in a while I'll be showing you something, the screen might pop off. It's not a defect on the unit, it's just my battery saver kicking in, and all I have to do is tap another button to get it back up. So FYI. So let's go over the highs. First off, this is a rugged, purpose-built GPS unit for the outdoors. Unlike a smartphone that is, might be waterproof, it might be Gorilla Glass or something, it's not built for the outdoors. It's not built to drop, thrash, treat poorly. And with this, you certainly can do that. I would not hesitate about dropping this, and in fact, and it's fine. I just stepped on it too. Anyway. There, turns on. So this is a rugged, it's waterproof. You can use this with gloves. You can use this in all kinds of conditions. It's something built for the outdoors. So that's a major plus, and it just works. It's just simple, it works. Not a lot to it. Another plus is that it takes AA batteries, and some people are passionate about this in their GPS. You can go to any gas station, convenience store, pop 2 cheapo AA batteries in here, and it'll work. And you can just bring 2 to replace them as well. It's very simple, very easy to power up and not really think about. Along those lines, you can't charge rechargeable batteries inside of here, but you can charge them outside of here and use rechargeable batteries in this. The last high on this is the maps. Now this comes preloaded with the Garmin Topo Active Maps, which used to be pretty bad, but they've improved them a lot over the last couple of years. They're based on OpenStreetMaps now. They have pretty much all the trails on there aside from small use trails and, secondary, very minor trails. I've used this in national parks, state, county, local trails, and all of the trails have been in there. The level of detail varies depending on where you are. It goes anywhere from, I think, about 24K to whatever, up 250K in more remote areas. But in general, if you're going to national parks or parks in your area, this will have the trails on it. So that's a major plus. You can just buy this, put some batteries in it, and go out on the trail and have maps and be able to navigate right out of the box. So very, very cool. Those are the highs. Now for lows, I would say the first is the interface. The interface feels like it's from a flip phone from 1999. It hasn't gotten an update. If you're used to using a Garmin device, it's pretty much the same interface that you have on all of them. Now, that's a double-edged sword because when you're tired or you have gloves on, or the conditions are adverse, it's nice to have a simple interface. I don't really care about how smooth the fonts look. I know where the map is, I know where the buttons are. That's nice. Other lows, I'd say it's pricey. Again, I mentioned earlier you could use your phone, and at the end of this video, I'll talk about whether you should get a phone or get this, and I'll walk through some scenarios on whether you really need this or not. But it is pricey for what you get. It's a little GPS. It's a couple $100. There are more inexpensive alternatives, including the older models, which I'll talk about too in a second, but it's a lot of money. Other thing that's a bit of a downer is it has this joystick on there. It has this little joystick. It takes a little bit to get used to. It doesn't have arrow keys, which I would have preferred. It's on there. It's actually the exact same case as the older eTrex model, the eTrex 20 and 30. It's exactly the same outside, but has different guts inside. The one thing that's bad about this, and I don't know if this was a firmware update or something just on the 32, you used to be able to disable the joystick if you had the unit on the compass or the trip computer page. You no longer can do that. So what that effectively means is that if you have this in your pocket and this little joystick gets rubbed, it'll come out of power saving mode. So that's no good. So what you have to do is you have to clip this outside or hang it on something, and just be very conscious of triggering and running your battery down, triggering the screen back on with the joystick. So not great. Maybe they'll address it with firmware. I'll let you know in the comments if they do. But that's also a downer of this. The other thing that's a bit of a problem is it comes with 8 gigabytes of internal memory, which is great, and you might get excited. The problem is that the preloaded maps eat up most of that 8 gigabytes of memory. So if you want to load your own free OpenStreetMaps or save a ton of tracks or geographic data on here, you're going to need a micro SD card, an external card. Good news is that they're under 10 bucks. I have a link to it on the website, so just go there. But not a huge deal, but a little misleading in terms of the specs for it. And one other thing that I don't really like is because it's in the old case, you have the old style mini USB connector, which you don't see a lot of. Most of them now are the flatter micro USB connectors. Not a huge deal. It comes with a cable so you can connect it to the computer. But you know, it would have been nice if they had upgraded hardware on it. So those are the main lows of the device. None of those are major deal breakers. It's still a great device, but just something to be conscious of if you're considering purchasing it. All right, let's walk through the unit. So the buttons are pretty simple. You have the joystick up here, which moves you around the menus. If you click on the joystick, it clicks in. It gives you more menus. Up here is back. So back brings you back a menu, and you can also use the menu button to pop you into a menu. So I can go here, I go menu and select that, or go back. The other buttons here are these zoom buttons. So if I go to the map, I can zoom in and out with the zoom buttons. Now you can also hit the menu button on some of the pages, and it will bring up a sub menu where you can go through and customize some things. And you just hit back to back out of these. The other button is the power button, and when it's powered on, you hit it and it gives you a backlight and a GPS signal and a battery percentage. And you just back out of this. If you hold it in, it will power off the device. Now, power-wise, this runs on AA's, like I mentioned before. You can get about 25 hours, 20 to 25 with regular ones. You can also use rechargeable batteries in here or lithium batteries. If you use lithium, you can get up to 40 hours, which is cool. And you set the battery type in the settings menu within the device. So just a heads up there, that's what you need to do for that. If you want to hook it up to the computer, I mentioned again earlier, there's the mini USB under this rubber cover right here. So you just plug that in. It's pretty simple. On the back, you have your spine connector. Now, this takes the standard Garmin attachment, so you can put a carabiner clip on here, you can put a belt clip. I think there's even a backpack clip you can get. So plan on getting a clip so that you don't accidentally hit this joystick button. Let's walk through the interface now. All right, so let's walk through the menus on this thing, or the menu and all the different functions. So first off, you have map, and this is what you think it is. It's a map. You can use the zoom buttons to go in and out. You can see it's decent. We got a lot of trails on there. You can customize the data fields up here. If you hit this menu button on the side, that will give you the sub menu, or you can do things like change the data fields. Here's what you have in terms of data fields. I'll run through this. You can pause it if you want to stop on something, but there's quite a bit of fields here that you can add. So that's map. You can also, once you're on the map, you can move the cursor around, click on this, drop waypoints different places, or navigate to them. So map, very handy, very useful. Let's back out of this. Where to lets you navigate to different points on the fly. I'll talk about that in a second. Compass, now the 32X has a 3-axis compass built in, so we can use this and point, and it will point us in the right direction. If you get a 22X or 20X, it will have a compass based on your GPS position. So it'll figure out the direction you're moving in based on your movement. Mark waypoints, just marks a waypoint. I'll show you that in a second. Trip computer is your main kind of odometer screen. This has all the information, and again, you can customize these fields here, the data fields. You're going to want to reset this every time you do a new hike or a new trip, and save the track if you'd like to. Setup is what you'd think. I do recommend going through setup, all the features to make sure it's customized the way you want. It only takes a minute or two. I have my recommendations on the article on the website. Geocaches, you can hook this up with HikingGuy.com if you want to do geocaching. Elevation profile will have the elevation profile of your hike so far. You can also look at a profile of a GPX track that you've saved if it has elevation data. Photo viewer, not super useful. You can look at photos. I guess if you have photos of some waypoints, that would be helpful. Waypoint manager will list all of your waypoints in here. And then from there, you can delete them, you can change them, you can navigate to them, whatever you'd like to do. Profile change is neat. You have multiple profiles on here. So if you use this, say, for driving, maybe off-road driving, for hiking, and for geocaching, you can have different settings for each of those profiles. Route Planner allows you to add points to a route and basically create like a saved route that you use later. Also handy. Active route gives you some information like the trip computer about your active route. We're not doing that now. Track manager is like a route manager. All of your saved tracks are in here, whether you've loaded them onto the device or you've saved them from the device. I'll show you how to save them in a second, but they're all on here. And again, you can navigate, you can view them on the map. You can look at an elevation plot. Not super helpful in that case, I guess, let me say it that way. Share wirelessly, you can send navigation data like waypoints back and forth. Calendar, it lists all of your geographic information by date. So if you wanted to say, oh, I went for a hike on May 4th, and there's a track on there, you could find it through here. Area calculation lets you walk around a perimeter and figure out the square feet of an area. Makes sense. Sun and moon gives you sunrise and sunset. Calendar is what you think it is, or calculator is what you think it is. Hunt and fish gives you some information about whether it thinks it's a good day or not. I probably wouldn't go by that. Stopwatch, alarm clock, explanatory. Sight and go lets you lock onto a position or direction, and go. If you just wanted to head due north, you could lock the position and use that screen. Man overboard just drops a waypoint. It's something you do if you're on a boat, obviously. Waypoint averaging is neat. You can take one of your waypoints and the device will take multiple fixes of that waypoint and then average them together to get a theoretically more precise waypoint. Proximity alarm allows you to create an alarm for a waypoint. So if you want to know when you get within 500 feet of a waypoint, your unit will turn on when that happens. Pretty cool. Adventures is like routes. I don't use these, but if you use them, you can do them here. Satellite will show you a satellite fix. Now this has GPS and GLONASS, which is the Russian version of GPS, unlike the old eTrex 20 and 30, which just has GPS. The precision is really good on this. I'll talk about that in a minute, but you can look at your fixes on that screen. And then lastly, you can control a VIRB camera. The eTrex 32x and 22x are both have ANT plus sensor readings. So if you wanted to get a temperature sensor, or you could even hook it up to like a power meter for a bike, you can pair all of those things here with the eTrex 32. So that's the interface, pretty straightforward. And again, it might look a little old, but there's something nice about having it be simple. You can just find what you need right away, and it works. You know, if you have gloves on, if it's raining out, whatever the case may be. Let's talk about the GPS accuracy and GPS and GLONASS accuracy on this, because it does have different guts. Even though it looks like the old eTrex, it does have different guts than the old eTrex, and the GPS is better. So let's first look at how quickly it takes to lock on to GPS signals, and then I'll take you through a little test that I did between this, the old units, GPS map unit, an iPhone, and some others. So let's dive in. All right, so let's power it up. There we go, Garmin. And I'll go to the GPS satellite screen so we can see how long it takes to get a fix once we power it up. Still waiting. The power up takes a minute or two. Not the best. I wish it was just an instant on, but it's not. So let's go down to satellites. Here you can see that's what it thinks it is, and look at that, I have a fix already. So pretty good, pretty quick. You can also see the precision of my satellite fix, and there goes the screen, and all the satellites that I've locked onto. So pretty cool, pretty good acquisition, and also pretty good performance. Let's take a look at that. All right, so here we are in Topo, and I have the GPS test for you to view. There's a link to this in the article, and you can go here and look at all the tracks specifically. If you look on the side, there's a little key that tells you which GPS is related to the line, and you can also click on the line. So here's the old eTrex 20. Over here, the green one is the 32, and I did it with GPS and GPS and GLONASS, so you can get an idea of it. So right here it is spaghetti. This is the beginning of the hike, but right away you can see a couple things. You can see the eTrex 20 is definitely not performing as well. You can see the iPhone 11. It's kind of all over the place. It's kind of okay though, all over the place, but around the track. 32 is pretty spot on. The GPS 66i is pretty close to the 32. You can see those are two. The 66i, if you're not familiar with it, is the, I guess what you call the top of the line from Garmin. And here's a Fenix 6 Pro Solar. Now, there's always a ton of variations with GPS signals. You know, and different days, different places, it'll be different. I just wanted to give you a snapshot. I hiked on a hike that has some canyons, and you'll see this map here has shaded relief, so you can see where I'm going in the canyons, and you can see potentially if the signal degrades, and I'll show you that in a second. And if you want to change the view, you can just go in here and you can pick other maps, but the shaded one is pretty good. So let's go down and look at some places here. So here you can see I am right under this canyon wall. The green eTrex is pretty much spot on with the top of the line Fenix and top of the line 66i. And you can see the iPhone struggling. The eTrex 20 is struggling a bit as well. Now if you go up here, you can see, and if you zoom out, you can kind of see on a higher level how good or bad they all are. But here you can see the iPhone and the eTrex are all doing pretty good. The eTrex 20 is not doing so good. And here, or there's a point up here where I switch over to GPS and GLONASS. So here we go. So at the point where I put on the GPS and GLONASS, the track is actually a little bit better, marginally better. And that makes sense. The more satellites you have, the better fix you're going to be able to get, and the better triangulation you'll be able to get. So here's the switch. I put a waypoint in there so you can tell. And here's the actual track. There we go. You can see the green is like right in the middle, right in the sweet spot of the 66 and the Fenix S. And you can see the eTrex 20 is continuing to struggle. Here you can see 66 and the iPhone look good, whereas the Fenix 6 and the eTrex 32x are struggling a bit. But in general, and here you can see I'm messing around a little, but in general you can see they're doing good. Also, one thing to note, the 66i has a 1 second interval, whereas on the 32x you can only set the interval from, I think it's most often to least often. There's 5 levels, and I just have it on normal so you can see what it looks like. But again, here I go. We're all pretty good here. In general, the precision is decent on the 32x. It's not as good
as the higher end 66i, but is definitely better than the eTrex 20, and it's marginally better, I'd say, than a smartphone. And again, different conditions, different locations will vary, but in general, this is consistent with what I've found when hiking with this for a few months.
All right, so let's drop a waypoint, one of the simplest things you can do with the GPS. So here we are at this trail intersection. Let's drop a waypoint and see what that looks like. All right, let's mark this waypoint. So I'm going to go to this screen right here, mark waypoint, click it. It lets me customize different things like the name, the icon, the location. I can add some notes. I can go through here, but let's see. Let's just add it done. Waypoint number 4. So now if I go to my waypoint manager, there we go. I can see waypoint number 4 right up top there. So and then once I have it in there, I can navigate to it. I can see it on map, whatever I need to do. Now you can also create routes on the fly with the eTrex 32x or 22x, and it uses the maps that are on board, which are the Garmin Topo active maps, which I mentioned before. You can also load other maps, custom maps, and also OpenStreetMaps onto the device if you want to route using different map sets. So go to HikingGuy.com, where I have an article on getting those free maps and loading them on here. I show you all of the steps needed to do that. But once you have them on here, whether it's the Garmin map or the OpenStreetMaps or your custom map, you can have the unit route you to points of interest or waypoints or whatever, just using the unit itself. You don't have to pre-plan it. You can just say, hey, I want to go to the closest hospital or whatever it is, and it will say, go straight for a mile, make a left here, and all those things. So let's walk through that. I'll show you what that looks like. All right, so let's use the device to route us somewhere and navigate. So we're going to go to where to, and we can choose from here different things, different tracks, coordinates, routes, waypoints, points of interest. So we can go to food and drink, whatever. I can do this and it'll give me a list of places that are close. So you can see you could use this in a car as well. You don't necessarily have to use it in the backcountry, but it's telling me how far these places are. All pretty cool. But you get the idea. It'll route you to that. Another way you can route yourself is you can go to the map. And here we are on the map, and I can take this joystick and the cursor and move myself around and pick a point here on the map, and then I'm going to click down on it. It's going to say trail. Clicked again, and now I can hit go. And now it's asking me if I want to go off-road, which means straight line, or max or minimize for time or minimize for distance. Doesn't really matter here. We'll do that. Now it's calculating. And there it gives us a little route west to trail. So let's go ahead and walk this trail now. So here I am at the intersection, and it's telling me to go northeast. You can see the little pink line there. You can see me moving down along the pink line on the screen there. So that's how routing works when you route on the device.
All right, so if you want to bring a external GPX file onto the eTrex, it's pretty simple. And you can get GPX files pretty much anywhere. You can download them from a site like AllTrails. All of my guides have them. And I just have a little button here, download GPX file, and you can download the GPX file. And once you have it, all you have to do is take the plugged-in Garmin. It's right here. Garmin. You go to this Garmin folder, and you see there's a folder called GPX. If you click on GPX, you can drag it in there, and there is the 4-mile hike guide. And now if we look on the device, we'll be able to see that as a track in our tracks. Alright, so I am in Garmin Basecamp right now, and let's go ahead and create a track and a route and a waypoint and transfer them to the device and see what that looks like on the trail. Now first of all, you'll notice that I'm plugged in, I have my eTrex 32 plugged into the computer, and it's showing up here in Basecamp. It's reading the maps here. So right now it has the maps on the card, and it's reading them onto the computer, or allowing you to look at them from the device. Now it doesn't. This is the Basecamp base map here. This is not what I want, but once these load on, and it's not going to be quick, I wouldn't look at this as an easy way to just plug the device in and get access to the topo map on the computer. You can do it. And also just a note, you can't, just because you own the maps on the device, doesn't mean you can download them from the Garmin website and put them on the computer. But what you can do is you can put free Garmin maps onto Basecamp, free OSM maps. If I go to Maps, let's go to Pacific, and here I am, and let's plan a hike out. And alright, here we are at some trails that are local to me, and in Basecamp I have a couple options. I can drop a waypoint, I can do a route, or I can create a track. So let's do one of each. So let's drop a waypoint here at this intersection. Let's do it. Yeah, sure. Do it at this intersection, and we'll call this test waypoint 1. And let's go over this parking lot here, and let's create a route. So I'll click on this. Let's do the starting point here. We can also click on this. Let me move this box away because it's not helping me. And let's go here. Let's just let it route us and see where it takes us here. So you can see it's created a route for us, and we have it in there. And we can rename this over here, test routes. And let's go ahead and create a track. So let's go over here to tracks, and let's create a track from here. Now tracks are just a series of waypoints, so I'm just I'm continuously clicking on this, and let's go here, and we're done. And let's call this test track. Okay. And now I have them in Basecamp here. Let's load them onto the device. So all I have to do here is select them, and device transfer, receive waypoints, send waypoints and data. So let's do this, and here it's popped up the eTrex. You can click the things you want. Transfer complete. Okay, so let's check out our waypoint that we sent over from Basecamp. So there's a couple ways I can do this. I can go to Waypoint Manager right here, and there's test waypoint that we had before. I can click on it. I can see information about it. I can look at it on a map right there. So pretty cool stuff. I can also go to where to up top here and navigate to that waypoint. Test waypoint. It's telling me how far. And now it's going to ask me if I want to go in a straight line or be routed on trails. So let's do trails. So here we are. It's calculating, and you can see it's telling me where to go straight up to the waypoint.
So pretty cool, pretty easy to do. We can also do a proximity alarm on that waypoint. So let me just cancel this navigation. And let's go to proximity alarms. Way at the bottom here, you can customize the way the buttons are. Test waypoint. Use that waypoint and make the radius. Let's make it 50 feet. And it's saying I'm 50 feet. Might have did 500. But anyway, that's what you can do with the waypoints. So the other thing we did to transfer from base camp was the route. So let's go ahead and do that route. So let's go up here. We can go to route planner, test routes in there. We can click it. We can look at it a map. We can do an elevation plot. We can change the name. We can delete it. So that's handy. But let's go back and go to where to and actually follow the route. I'm deep in the menus here. Where to, routes, test route. There it is. So it's going to calculate it for a second here. Let's go. And here it's telling me to walk on the route, and it's going to have a turn that's going to happen up there. So let's go ahead and start walking and see what happens when we get to the turn. All right, so we're getting up to the intersection here. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens here. Okay, I just woke up. It's telling me I've got something going on. I've got to turn. I can see by the purple line that I need to turn here. And continue down the trail. So that's routing, however you want to say it. Pretty straightforward. I don't use it a whole lot because I don't really want driving directions while I'm hiking, but you do have it if you are going. And again, I like the track. The track seems to work a little bit better for me. All right, so let's see where that test track is. Let's go where to, and let's go to tracks. And there's test track. Give it a second to redraw, and you can see there that we are on the line, close to the line. You can see the line on the tracks there. So let's go ahead and hit go. And now it shows us very clearly where we should be hiking, which trail we should be on, or which trails we should not be on. And all you have to do is follow this. And if you get to an intersection, there we go. If you get to an intersection where you're not sure, you can just simply look at the pink line and see which way to go. So pretty simple stuff. This is probably the easiest way to navigate. I use this quite a bit if I've created a GPX file online and I'm doing a new hike. Generally, I've looked at the map and I know where I'm going on the trails, and I know where I want to make a right and left-hand turn. But if I need a second opinion from the GPS, or if I'm unsure if the trails aren't what I expected and I'm not really sure where I'm going, I can simply fire this up and make sure that I'm on the trail here. And you can see the little icon is moving as we move down the trail. And let's go ahead. You can see up ahead here, we've got a split. So according to this, I'm going to make a left turn here. We could also change the orientation. So set up map. Right now I have north up, but I can do track up, then back out. And here it's showing me, that's a little bit easier to see, which way I should be going. There's the track, and you can see I'm following it. And here we go. And here at this split, here's another split ahead. I'm going to want to make the left stay in the turn as opposed to the right. So pretty straightforward, which is good. You don't want anything too complicated when you're outside. So that's the overview of the eTrex 32X and 22X. Hopefully you understand a little bit more. Now the question becomes, should you buy the eTrex 32X? Now if you want a simple purpose-built outdoors GPS that has preloaded maps, this is your best bet, especially sort of in an entry-level GPS. If you're getting into hiking or getting into geocaching, or want to be outside hunting, want to get something that you know is going to be reliable, is simple, and just works, the 32X is a good job. And especially if you're out in other conditions, rain and different things like that, you know, this is the move. Now, if you have a eTrex 20, which is this, and you're considering upgrading to the 32X, I definitely would not upgrade. Now, the GPS fix is a little bit better on the 32, but the 20 and 30 are basically identical aside from a couple of small features. So unless there's a specific feature that you need on the 20 or 30 that you don't have in the 32 and 22 offers, I would just get a 20 and load free maps on it. And again, just go to HikingGuy.com. I have a full review of the 20, and I also have a guide on loading free maps onto it. So don't waste your money. If you just want a basic unit and don't care about the maps, then get a 20 and load free maps on it. I think these are still in production. I'm not positive, but you can definitely get them still, and they're definitely cheaper than the 32 and 22. Now, do you need a 32 or a 22? Unless you have a specific reason that you want the barometric altimeter or the compass in there, get a 22. Save the money. The 22 has an altimeter based on the internal maps, and the compass is based on movement. So if you want to get your direction, all you have to do is just move a few feet and you'll get a direction. If it's important for you to get a direction when you're standing still, for whatever reason, get the 32. But otherwise, you don't need that. Now, if you want a purpose-built GPS that's like top of the line, that has a very sensitive antenna, has advanced functionality, get a GPS map 66, this is a 66i. This also has inReach technology in it, so I can do satellite communications with this as well. I have a full guide to the GPS map 66i on Hiking Guy, so go check that out if you're interested in this. This is probably about double the cost of the eTrex 32, but it does offer a lot more. And if you want a prosumer version of a GPS, this is probably as good as you can get. So if you're going to be out a lot and you want inReach, this might be the move. Now the question becomes, should I get the eTrex or should I just use my smartphone? Now, smartphones are definitely more durable than they've ever been. A lot of times you can drop them and nothing will happen. You can get them wet. The only problem is when the conditions are bad, when it's wet. Sometimes I find it hard to pinch and zoom. I love my smartphone. I use Gaia GPS. Be sure to check it out. It's a free app. If you want a premium membership, Hiking Guy readers get a discount. The Gaia folks have been very generous in that respect. Just go to my gear page and you can get that. But Gaia GPS on a smartphone, it's like having like a little mapping computer. You can turn layers on and off. You can get weather if you have a connection. It's really, really powerful. It's just not purpose-built for the outdoors. Now, there are Android phones that you can get that are mil-spec, that have extra long batteries, that are shock-proof, and you could probably brew something up that way. But would it be cheaper than the eTrex? Probably not. So if you have a smartphone, my recommendation, long way of saying it, is that if you only hike in decent conditions, if you don't go out in the rain, if you don't wear gloves, if you're not doing heavy backcountry hiking, you could probably get away with a smartphone, get Gaia GPS and use that. But if you want something that's purpose-built, get the eTrex 32X or one of the alternatives that I mentioned earlier. Now, Personally, what I do is I have the 66. I use the 66 to do my inReach communications. I use my smartphone with Gaia if I need to do, map exploration or some kind of complex routing decisions. And I have an eTrex that I keep at the bottom of my pack as sort of my emergency GPS. If something happens, my phone doesn't work anymore, my battery dies on my inReach because I'm doing too many satellite communications, I've got a simple, relatively lightweight little GPS preloaded with maps on there that I can use in a pinch to help me navigate out of a situation. So a lot of different options. eTrex might not be best for you. All I ask that if you do buy an eTrex or one of these other devices, if you could use the links underneath the video or on my website, I get a small commission. It's a small way to say thanks to me for making this video. There's no cost to you. I get it from REI or Amazon, whoever you buy from. They give me a small percentage of the sale. So easy way to say thank you. You can also say thank you by clicking the little thumbs up for this video. That will show your support for the video, the channel. And if you have any questions whatsoever, please ask them in the comments on YouTube. I'm pretty good at answering all of the comments and questions that get put in there. So if there's anything I didn't cover or you'd like me to address, please ask it there and I will do my best to answer you. eTrex 32x, that's it. Enjoy it. It's a decent unit. Not the best on the market, not the worst, but a good fit for probably some folks.